wow, I see that if I, like you said, I got this result. If I pour the next 90 days into this will transform everything. Okay, let me go there. Let me see what I'm capable of there.
If on the other side of that was way more wealth, way more flexibility, way less stress around finances, wouldn't it be worth the shot?
Welcome to the Lion's Edge, where top performers sharpen their teeth. Hosted by Joe Blackburn, founder of The Lion, who is relentlessly dedicated to helping business owners lead multi-million-dollar teams. And me, Jason Croft. I transform unseen entrepreneurs into industry leaders by developing their market gravity. Each week, we reveal proven strategies and raw insights to help you maximize your business, multiply your wealth, and make your family indestructible. Now, let's create your edge.
Why are people so infatuated with some sort of like standard of balance? Is that what it, like, I got to be home at a certain time. I can't work like, why? What, when in the history of the universe did that work for someone?
Well, and especially to achieve any kind of beyond average results as well. Maybe it's the pendulum swing. Maybe it's the, it's the swing against hustle and grind and forget everything else. Even though, I don't know, I think even that was like the marketers just said, oh, let's make that the enemy. And now, swung it the other way. It's yeah, especially during seasons and things like that. Like, yeah, that's what it takes. It takes an insane amount of focus and drive into one thing over and over again. And you can have you can have these moments of, freedom and control. And you have a little more say in when you work like a maniac, but you still got to go work like a maniac.
Well, we're actually working on something, and it's like if you only had 90 days to make this work. Like, what if you just had 90 days to make this whole, like, your business and your life work? That's it. That's all you got. And you go to hell if you don't succeed. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I just hear it a lot of like, well, I can't do that because I got to be home, and well, what about Saturdays? Well, I got, this. It's weird to me, and maybe it's my fault. Like, if your expectation is to truly be wealthy, I don't think it's completely unrealistic to think you're going to knock that out. Especially, maybe not. You can earn the right or whatever. I mean, I know a lot of people that get to do what they want when they want, but they spent years of sacrificing sometimes their health. And I don't want to encourage people to get sick. Your body will tell you when it's time to take a day or two off. But that one's been in my mind a lot. Just who told you, or who did you believe that this was possible with that type of limiting amount of time of input? And, there's a saying, and I kind of adhere to it: constraints create resourcefulness, and you are more effective. I mean, if you gave yourself 18 hours, you might expand to that. And I mean, you can't be effective that long. So I'm just trying to figure out and it's all social media driven and HR driven, because companies are having such a difficult time getting people to come to work or be in the office, or like the enticement is you don't have to do that much. And that's probably more on the corporate side. So I don't spend a lot of time there. I left that for a reason. It just seems like the rule has become, I'm somehow doing something bad if I put more time into what my dream is. I'm somehow, it's like hurting my family. There's just this weird, like, it's an unwritten rule maybe that if I'm not home or I'm working too much, I'm somehow bad. It's like it's an idea. Like somehow I'm a bad person and I'm neglecting my family. And my thought on that is, well, okay, then if you don't do that for a short period of time, even 90 days, then for the perpetuity, you just have more stress. Like, which one's more damaging? Isn't in my this was my thought. Like, which one, the acute, I've got to do this for a certain amount of time to get to a certain place so that for the rest of the time, I don't have to, work 12, 13, 14 hours a day. So I'm going to break it. It just, in my mind, it just elongates the actual stress you're trying to avoid.
What people react to like always, are the fringes, right? So there's the stories or the this or, when someone who is just wired that way, yeah, they destroy their marriage, they destroy their family because all they do is work and they can't
Yeah,
get out of it. But that's also the fringes. That's also, if it wasn't work, it would be something else because that's how they're wired.
probably.
Like like with anything, there's a communication aspect to all of this of first, like we've talked about before, define this within yourself. Like, okay, these are the things that are important to me. These are the goals I have, right? In order to make this happen, I've got to spend the next 90 days in crazy town mode. I'm going to communicate that with my family, with the people who are important to me, and then also put those parameters in place for myself to go, okay, it's day 91 or whatever, I'm out of that season. Don't just fall into like this is life now. Be very purposeful with, hey, this is what I promised you, family. Now here's where we are. And it's that communication, it's that balance all the way. And if you've talked about it before, if those goals aren't aligned at the beginning and talked about with the people close to you, well, that's the problem. If they've got this expectation and you're off here trying to achieve this goal, that's where you got to start, right?
The way the world was designed, if I'm correct, the seventh day was for rest, right? So it's 7 days in a week. So why not for a period of time just make that your rest day and take 90 days and burn it at both ends and see what happens? I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that says, what do you call it, rise and grind. And we've talked about trying hard versus working hard. Trying hard is trying to get other people to do things so much that you appear desperate. That's a try hard. But if you have something that works and you can do it repeatedly, I think people underestimate how fast they can replicate that. And they have a guilt or a rule that shuts them off. Why wouldn't you just go as hard as you can, take Sunday off, tuck your kids in at night, kiss them goodbye in the morning if you can, I mean, that's easy to say. That requires another person probably having to shoulder some of this. So I'm probably talking in circles, but if you can get that your partner or your spouse or whatever on board and say, I'm just going to do this for 90 days, not 9 years, just 90 days. I think you can change it all in that period of time. And it's the people in the line work awfully hard. I'm not. This is more. I just talk to a lot of people when they get reservations. Well, how much time is this going to take? Well, first of all, you're wasting 50% of your time. I know. So you have more than you're giving yourself credit for. You just aren't focused and you don't know how to cut the bullshit. I don't know. It's like, why did the rule all of a sudden become, I have to be done at a certain time and I have to be at a certain place or I'm the villain? That's what I'm saying.
That's the pieces to let some of these things in. There's plenty from a humanity standpoint. Wow, we're better off when we have time together, and our kids are better when they have time with us. Without a doubt, there's just letting in some of this that, you know, like you say, over and over again. You're capable of a lot more than you think you are. Your your kids are good with these moments if you can be there with them 100% when you're with them. That's the biggest thing, and that's that difference. That's that dynamic you're talking about of like, okay, either really pour into these 90 days or be frustrated 365 days because you're not quite there and you're struggling. You've got this constant acute stress that you're mentioning. Those are those things to just let in. This isn't a prescription of, man, it doesn't matter if you're with your family or not. Of course, we're not saying that. It those things are critical, but weighing that and communicating with that and putting down like, oh, wow, I see that if like you said, I got this result. If I pour the next 90 days into this, this will transform everything. Okay, let me go there. Let me see what I'm capable of there.
Yes. You articulated that way nicer than I did. Great job. But it is so then the question becomes, if on the other, and maybe it's 120 days or 2 years, I don't know. But if on the other side of that was way more wealth, way more flexibility, way less stress around finances, wouldn't it be worth the shot? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you do it and everybody leaves you and they hate you. Like, seriously, that's possible. Or your kids resent you. I just think and it's hard to sit across from someone and tell them they need to do that because I don't know what it's like to go home for them. So I don't want to say, oh, here's a magic wand and everybody's going to love you. And because we're always, am I good enough? Will I be loved is a constant frame of our minds. And I think that's a tough question. Like, am I still going to be loved at the end of this or as we go on? Because most people don't wake up wanting to destroy their family. I don't think. I don't know. I want to figure out, can we change the rule that if I'm not there every single time something happens or at a certain time, I'm not hurting people? I think that's my hero is my dad. And when I was a little kid, he was the assistant principal, the athletic director, and the head basketball coach at Pana High School. And he's a legend. He's the only guy I know that's been a doctor, a president, and a CEO. He holds all three titles. And at about 8 or 9, he went and left teaching because we really only did see him on Sunday, really. He's opening the gym, closing the gym. He's at every event. He's got but I have vivid memories of the fun stuff we did and the ball games and he lived, when I was in high school, he lived in Oregon. He expanded a company that he eventually became the CEO of, and he lived in Oregon during my junior year of high school. He flew home every weekend to see my football games and then worked maniacally when he wasn't there. But I don't have memories of my dad not being there. I don't sit there and think, man, I wish my dad was here. That's not it. So I think there's like a false fear that your kids are going to calculate what you're doing. Like, I don't think they can. And the more stability they have and the more, he would say, I don't have to be there every time you put a jock on. He'd say that. So you can come to all my practices like I think parents go to practices now. And again, I get judgmental. It's just, I don't think you have to vilify yourself for a period of sacrifice that will set you up for long-term success, thinking everybody's going to leave me and hate me. That's where, and I am telling you, I talk to a lot of people who want to be great and want to have big dreams. And that one, it's like, and even in the line, it's maximize your business, multiply your wealth, and make your family indestructible. That doesn't mean make your family indestructible by being there all the time. And it's weird. It's like this weirdest. It's like a guilt. I don't know what. Maybe it's. I don't know. It's like this feeling of if I'm not, I'm bad, and I don't think that's true.
Like you said, you're not the villain for doing some of these things. And I also think it makes a massive difference to make sure that from day one, your kids feel seen, loved, have that foundation
Yeah.
of you're there feeling. I think it's a matter of where are they getting that from? Where are they doing that? And I was fortunate. I was home a lot, and I see the benefits of just that relationship I have with my boys. That's they're there. They know they're loved. They know they're by me specifically. That
Yeah.
there's not that, and that is amazing. And I think if I was gone always and never built that, I think there would be ramifications for me and them from that. But I think that's the thing. It's not this all or nothing. It's letting those pieces in and realizing, and again, back to this idea of there's seasons for this stuff. It's seasons, it's focus, it's this, it's in and out, and then it's talking about it, communicating about it all along the way. That's the biggest thing, rather than just like, well, you're stupid if you don't understand that I got to work. And then, you slam the door and go. Of course not. That's
I've
not
never done that. Well, maybe the question then is, what is balance? What is it? I think what I'm encountering is the perception of what balance is might be a little off if you have big goals and dreams so that you can have more balance. It's it's the game of opposites. If I, and they help Clancy Jansen, the legend, one of my old clients and one, great friend of my family say, and I was starting out in business, said, Joe, you can work half days. That's 12 hours. That's a half day. And I have to find a better way of impressing upon our potential clients and the people that we care about that you are not a bad person if you have to take, like you said, periods of time and really focus and pour into this. And if you're graced with another day or another year or another 10 years, they'll be better. And if you aren't, you'll be remembered for someone that was willing to sacrifice for your family and for the greater good of your community. But I think the mindset is, well, I'm a bad parent and I'm a bad husband or I'm a bad wife. And I don't think that's true at all. So that's all I have on that. It's just been on my, I go through seasons of trying to figure out what's limiting and what's real and what's true. And I'll go back to the original truth. Last time I checked, it was 6 days of hard work and 1 day of rest. That could be working, with your family on a Saturday. It's just, we've like become enamored with the ease of success. And so listen, let me put it this way. This just popped in my mind. If technology and AI made all this easy and success was easy because of information and everything, wouldn't everybody be successful? So what's the missing ingredient? I'm just a batch of rainbows and sunshine. Anywho. And I bet, look, just let me say it like this. I have 5 children and I have a wonderful spouse that gets it. I mean, she actually processes what is happening and we team up and split rides and do all those things. And I still crack 6 days a week, 70 to 80 hours. I just find the spots to do it and get major focused in prime time. and I'm semi-successful, so, and I'm also not very tolerant. So that would lead me to think that if you are as, loving as you want to be, you should be better at it than I am. Because sometimes I don't even want to go there and talk to people. I'm just kidding. So, anyway, do you see what I'm saying though? Like maybe
Yeah.
so maybe the solution is strategically setting it up or getting yourself to a position to where if you have to be somewhere at 4:00, you were up at 4:00. My strategy is get it done early because I know how the day goes.
Right.
All right, I'm done. You've been awesome as usual. Let's wrap this puppy up and double crosses that you actually edited and put it out there.
You've just experienced the Lion's Edge. If this episode lit a fire, if you're ready to push past your current ceiling, there's more waiting for you. Want to see what it takes to become a member of the Lion? Visit jointhelion.com to discover how successful entrepreneurs become unstoppable forces. And make sure you never miss an episode by hitting subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just content. This is your edge.
This show is powered by Media Leads. Tired of being overlooked in your industry? Learn how market gravity can transform you into the leader everyone's talking about by going to MediaLeadsCo.com.